Hey, good morning, everyone. Hey, I'm talking about creating sales systems and learning to sell better with something like Sales Transformation Group or another sales training company. It's What Else Wednesdays. What else should you be doing besides SEO, PPC, and web design for your marketing and for your sales, I suppose, with this one. Learning to sell is such an extremely important part of running a business, running a small business. Honestly, if there's one thing you should remember, it's just learn to sell. But a lot of you are past that point, so I'm going to talk about things I've learned in sales and try to share some of the things that I've learned from people at STG and other sales training companies that are awesome. Benny Fisher is the person I've been hanging out with from SDG, and Ryan Groth is also one of the people there. Sales Transformation Group is sweet, but learning to sell is really the most important piece of this live that I think about. And I'm going to talk about 3 things related to that this morning. The first one is having a sales process. And I believe this is crucial. And just like processes in your business and your service, you shouldn't skip steps. You can make them shorter, but you need to have all the same steps to your sales process every single time. So that's an extremely important concept. Another one is role playing. I believe role playing is probably one of the top tips. If you're not currently role playing in your roofing business on a regular basis, having your salespeople role play, it's training basically. If you're not training and people aren't living up to the standard that you want at your contracting business, you're losing opportunities. And I really love the way that Ryan put this in the last interview. It's on our YouTube. It's pretty sweet. It's basically you have to train under harsher conditions. So it is weird. Role playing is weird. But if you're training under harsher conditions than the normal, so if you're role playing and you're recording it, or you're role playing and there's people watching, and you're trying to go through the steps that you want people to go through, then it's more difficult than being in home. So if you do that on a regular basis, when you get into the home, you're going to be more likely to follow that system. So system, role playing, and then the last one is the last kind of key point I'm going to go through on sales that I think is crucial is follow-up. So how many people get a lead, try to talk to that lead once, and then it's over? How many people do that? It's probably too many. And there needs to be accountability around follow-up. What is the standard for follow-up in your business? Is it once? Is that okay? If they just do it once? I'm just trying to challenge this morning. But if you don't have it stated, if you don't have a system, if you haven't trained on this, then the default will be once. And if they don't answer or they don't talk to you, it's done. And at the end of the sales process. So something that was super useful to me, talking to Benny from Sales Transformation Group, or he is a trainer there, I think. Sales Transformation Group he's talking about pain, need, and opportunity. So up front in the initial conversation with the prospect, you're gathering this information. What is their pain? What is their need? And what is their opportunity? And then later on in follow-up, you're utilizing that information in the follow-up. So if you have a system around how many follow-ups you have to do, or the team has to do, and each person on your team, then you utilize, hey, what was their pain? Can I talk to them about that? What was the need originally? What was the opportunity? And utilizing those things in your follow-up. Hey, thanks, man. TJ says, looks like a beautiful day where it's not a hurricane. Yes, sir. Are you guys, where's that at? Say what's up. If you're, are you looking at Storm right now, TJ? Share. I'd love to hear what's going on there. If you got, maybe have you on if you're looking at something interesting. But yeah, sales, learning to sell is extremely important. And I want to encourage you guys that like, this is a culture. This is like one thing that happens, I think, in sales. And I'm just going to share some personal experiences here. Maybe not just all stuff I've learned from SDG. I've had different sales trainers throughout the years. Sales gets priority sometimes when you're not doing well. And then when you're doing well, it falls by the wayside. And that's something you have to combat. You essentially, in my experience, I have had to, when I'm doing well, continue to double down on sales training and sales systems. Even when I'm doing well, which sounds weird, but literally it's easier to let go of this stuff when you're doing well. Because you're like, it's not that fun all the time. Like sales training and role playing and feedback loops with the sales team and stuff like that. That's not fun all the time. Sometimes if we're doing good, we're doing good. Let's just get into the groove, you know? But we're leveling up now, and I'm learning to do this, to level that stuff up even when things are going well. And I think that that's an important principle. In my experience, there's a complacency that happens when you're doing well that you have to combat. Jay, what's up? Good to see you. Jay Bradley, Roof Nuts. TJ McCormick joined and commented he's world's greatest roofer on TikTok. Follow him. Follow Roof Nuts on TikTok and all over. Jay's got a beast of a next couple weeks ahead of him with the storm, and I'm sure could use your encouragement. Learning to sell is my thing this morning, and I'm talking about the different things that I've learned with learning to sell. I think one thing that I think is important is settling into a system. And it's easy to read new books and listen to new podcasts and do new things all the time. Good morning, Jordan Harrison. What's up, bro? Presto Media, good to see you. I'm glad you got your brand now, bro. So, not always reinventing your system, especially, and I've learned this over the past couple months more than any time in my life, is like, with the team, you have to act a little bit more like you're running a cruise ship, not a speedboat. You have to make small pivots, not make gigantic moves. Rocky, what up, bruh? Good to see you. So making small pivots, not necessarily trying to make giant changes all the time to your sales system. I think that, especially when I was just starting out, I thought that there was always going to be some secret sauce. That I always thought there was going to be some magic button that I was going to press. But to me, it's always now I feel like I need to make small pivots in my sales process and our sales game. And whatever you use for sales training, get a coach, get a system. Don't be pivoting all the time. Don't be trying to reinvent it constantly. Settle into something that works for you. I'm not a huge fan of scripts. What else have I learned about sales? What else have you learned about sales? Share below. Sales is a fun topic, and I don't talk about it very much because I don't know that I think of myself as a sales guru, but I will say I've learned some things. And I think what's funny or interesting, I think I've learned a lot of things that agencies don't learn because we do have a lot of at-bats. So I've failed a lot, yeah. Rocky says, do the boring work. Ooh, that's so good, man. I've been thinking about that a lot. Do the boring work. We got follow-up is boring work. What else is boring work? We got, Jordan says, when I focused on building relationships, that made sales way easier. 100%. I feel like this might be an oversimplification and maybe making light of it, but like, I feel like relationships are like brand for an individual. I think in marketing terms, relationships make everything easier. Rocky says follow up. What? Yeah, follow up is definitely the boring work. Excuse me. Try not to get hit. In North Oaks, this is my city, and it's kind of a weird city. There's like it's like an old. It used to be one of the first gated communities in Minnesota, and it's not now. But you're supposed to walk on the left-hand side because there's no. If you guys ever watch this, and you're like, "What is this kid doing walking on the road?" There's no sidewalks, and you're supposed to walk on the left-hand side and wave. And it's weird. Rocky says paperwork, follow up. So Rocky, okay. Sales, I agree. Like our salesperson, we don't have a heavy duty sales team or anything. We have one salesperson and then me. And our salesperson is extremely diligent at paperwork. Now there's different, and she is good at actually doing some work if absolutely necessary, if she needs to. But she also is very good at sales, and so we want her to spend as much time on that as possible. So the question is, and I did this meme yesterday about should sales. Basically, I feel like the question is, I was actually just trying to trigger y'all, and I gotcha. Eric and Rocky both were on that meme. But Eric Moore, what's up, bro? It's basically like, should salespeople have to be managing jobs and paperwork? That's the question. So if you have opinions on that, I think you should drop them below. But I think I think a lot of smart people I've talked to lately have said, as much as you can separate out some of those tasks, that's if you have a bunch of closers though. The question is, if you have a bunch of closers, I'm gonna switch directions here. If you have a bunch of closers, can you put those people on the deal closing and then have other people support them? And maybe it's not inside outside sales per se, but maybe it's sales support, and you have a couple sales support people for your 5 sales, but that's above my pay grade. I am just a lowly marketer. I'm a lowly marketer that studies salespeople, and I'm a lowly marketer that loves learning about sales. And I think my first year in business, just the 3 words "learn to sell" got ingrained into my brain, and I am continuing that journey still. What else did I learn? I'm gonna go back a little bit, because my first year in business, I did above average amount of work for me, and then I added my wife. Above average for my industry the first year, and people were all like, "Damn, dude, how'd you do that?" I'm like, well, aggressive marketing, and then I learned to sell. And I don't even know if I was that good, but I cared a lot about the people that I was working with and working for, and I tried to be selective. A big move for me as time went on was that, if you guys have ever read the book, The Challenger Sale, that's a good book, The Challenger Sale. It's basically like, if you challenge somebody and they end up accepting the new idea, then you own that idea in their mind. And that was very useful to me, The Challenger Sale. And I use that in marketing too. The Challenger Sale is a good book on sales. There's other really good books. The Ultimate Sales Machine is another one I like. Book called Pitch Anything. Those are some of my favorite sales books. I'm trying to think of any other ones. I just finished Get to Know, Get to Know, which is really good. Essentially, the concept of almost seeking a no so that you can move past it. So that was very useful to me, and I think any no is unlocked by why. So also asking why after somebody gives you a no. Hey, how's it going? Good morning.
Multitasking?
Yeah, I'm multitasking. I'm doing it live. Yeah, I'm trying to think about anything else. Man, I love talking sales though. I never talk about this stuff on my lives or my content. I know that there's better people than me to talk about sales, but I love it. It is so fun. It's fun. Why is sales so fun? Let me see if I got anything else for you guys. Take a breather. Feel free to comment. I'll give you a shout out. See a few people watching. If you want to say what's up, I'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'm thinking about what else I've learned on sales though. For a recap of the main concepts I threw out there, it's you got to have a system. Create a system that's consistent, that you don't change every single month. You got to, I think role play is massive. And if you make like weekly role play rhythms, that is powerful. And then follow-ups. How many follow-ups are you doing? And is your team doing on a regular basis? And are they consistent about it? Follow-up. Let's see, what else do I got? I'm on this walk, so I'm not going to just... Eric says, sales is a dance and people love to be seduced. That's true. I actually really like being sold to. Oh yeah, that's another kind of concept to go into. Eric, I appreciate you jogging my brain. I enjoy being sold. How do you feel if somebody's coming up to you and is like, look at this? Like if you're in a spot where somebody's explaining to you the benefits of a particular thing. I like it. I really like it now because, a good amount of my life as a business owner this past couple of years has been selling to people. And so now I kind of like that feeling when somebody's selling to me. It feels good. If they're coming to you, that's another thing. If they're coming to you and they want this, you shouldn't feel bad about helping them get it. You know what I mean? I think that I had bad connotations about sales. This is actually probably a fundamental change that had to happen in my brain. I had to believe selling was a good thing. I had to believe that because I used to think that sales was a bad thing. It was like a bad word. And this was back in the day when I just used to be a website designer, marketer. I used to think sales was kind of weird and bad because I had seen some stuff where salespeople were less than honest. So I thought maybe it wasn't that good of a thing, but that's not how you have to sell. What's up, Troy? Good to see you. Sean, hey, dude, I'm doing really well. Appreciate you. I love talking about sales, and I appreciate you joining. I thought it was a bad thing, because I had seen some bad examples. But once I got through this belief, once I changed my mind about that sales was bad, and I decided to say, this is a concept I grabbed from Grant Cardone, but it's, there's no value delivered until you close the deal. Troy says, I love sales. Uncle GC has helped me to understand how sales is not a bad word. Sean says, Tim, why are you not in Florida? I'm not a roofer, brother. I'm not a roofer, even though I do roofing memes. But yeah, man, if I learn, because beliefs undergird everything we do. And if you believe sales is bad in your heart, if you have guilt around it, in my experience, getting rid of that and loving it and saying to yourself, you know, really it's good for people. If I can, if the thing I'm selling is good, if I have a belief that I am one of the best at this thing in my area or whatever, in my niche, in my case, then you have a responsibility and a duty, and you have to help them understand. You have to help them. So I think that was one of the most important things too for me to understand, is not to feel like it was a bad thing. And I know it sounds funny if some of you guys were born salesmen or salespeople or whatever, but I had to go through that shift in my mind to be able to sell better and to be able to have a different belief. I like talking about belief and identity and how some of those things, like I talked about role playing and systems and follow-up, those are really important. But like some of the fundamental things are belief and changing the way you think about yourself and identity. Eric says most people do not want to be sold. Imagine 100 people walk onto a car lot, and a salesman comes and asks the question, can I help you with anything? They're probably going to say no. But if the mechanic in a jumpsuit walks out on the lot and asks that question, they're probably going to bombard them with technical questions because they don't feel the pressure. Learn to sell without pressure and make it feel like a fun dance. I agree 100%, man. That's why some sales coaches suggest like putting on your whole roofer getup with the hammer and everything, the tool belt, and then going to the door to knock. So there's a lot of cool strategies like that I think are useful too. Yeah, I love talking about sales. It's fun. It's fun. I'm a lifetime learner. And once I started to believe that sales was good for the people that I'm helping, and once I really started to believe in what I'm selling, then I'm always going to try to get better at sales. I'm always going to try to the important thing is it's not manipulation, it's service. And if you believe that, you will become a lifetime student of sales as well, no matter what you do. And honestly, some of the people that need to hear this most are marketers, are technicians in the trades. Like let's say you grew up as a roofer, I did the work. Some of those people are the people that need to hear this the most, that this is good. And that if you can connect the person that needs your service to the service, that is honorable and powerful. So I'm just going to leave you with that this morning. I believe that belief is extremely important. And do you believe that today? Drop in the comments. Do you believe that what you're doing when you're selling is honorable and you need to connect the person who needs your service with the service? And should we sell today? Should we sell more? All right. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Bye.